Hi everyone. In last sessions, what we discussed about of the bin stack services. In that bin stack services, what is the purpose of the bin stack services? And already we created the one bin stack, and we already deploy the dynamic sample application by using of the AWS side. So today we will see the Lambda functions. What is the Lambda? So whenever we go here the AWS our account, you can see here the Lambda. What is the Lambda? Lambda is nothing but whenever we search here also you can see here already we discussed some topic. You can see here the run code without thinking about the server. So any of the kind of the application I want to deploy, at that time we require the servers. But at that time whenever we using of the Lambda functions, bin stack, do we think about of the servers? No. At that time, we don't require think about of the servers because who will be take care it? It will be take care from the AWS side. You can see here the Lambda run the code without thinking about of the servers. What is the purpose? So suppose whenever we're talking about of the platform services, platform as a services, infrastructure as a services, then software as a services. Yesterday already we discussed about of the infrastructure setup, then platform setup and deploy our code. This is the we can say called as of normal whenever we are not using of the bin stack and Lambda at that time we have to create the infrastructure setup, then we have to create the platform setup as a DevOps engineer and we have to deploy our code. So this is the thing. So whenever we're talking about of the Lambda functions here, so same thing. We have the first whatever we have the you can see here the infrastructure setup. So we can say call it this is my infrastructure. Then we can say call it this is my platform structure. Then we can say call it the third section. Whatever we have the app code, we have to deploy. But whenever we're talking about of the what is the main difference between the Lambda and Bean stack here? Suppose I'm running one businesses here. Suppose I'm deploying one application in the market. But whenever we are using the Lambda functions, so there is a main advantages. So Bean stack, it's a free of the cost. But whatever we have the services used in the Bean stack, that services we have to pay bill for the AWS. So whenever we're talking about of the Lambda's function, suppose when I launched one application and at that time I'm not having a more users in that. So at that time, so we can say call as a so whatever we have the deployed our application in the production environment, so we have to pay the amount for whatever we have the infrastructure set up, we have to pay the money to the AWS account. So, but my earning is not started yet because we have the very less business from the our application side. Then, so we have to pay the money from our end side because we are not generating any single we can say call as a single money from our application side, but our infrastructure cost every month will be generated. At that time, we have to pay the money. So there is a one thing here in the Lambda functions, whatever we have the code deploy in our production environment, then we have the one advantages from the Lambda function side. Whenever we are executed our code, so suppose my application name is ABC. So I deployed my ABC application by using of the Lambda functions, and in first day I don't have any users. So in second day users are not visited. In third day also users not visited. So at that time bill won't be generated whenever we using of the Lambda functions. But whenever we use of the bin stack at that time, first day, second day, third day, bill will be generated because we use the services in in our bin stack. Bin stack is a free of the cost. But whenever we're talking about of the number of services we use for the our application, those services are paid, so we have to pay the money. But whenever we talking about of the lambdas, so first day, second day, third day, we are not paying single money to the AWS, because here is a one advantages for the Lambda's functions. So whenever we are executing our code, so we can say call as a execute. Suppose I'm opening a Flipkart application. At that time, what will be happen in the backend? So it will be execute the code. So it will be requested to the our server. So whenever we requested to the server, at that time bill will be generated in the Lambda function. Suppose user is not requesting to the our server, at that time bill won't be generated from the Lambda function. So this is the main advantages. So how many times suppose we have the whenever we deployed our application, so 10 times user, whenever we're talking about of the users is requested to the 10 times, then bill will be generated for the only 10 times. So whenever we are executed our application, at that time bill will be generated, otherwise will be won't be generated from the Lambda functions. So this is the, we can say call it the Lambda function. Suppose in my first month, user is not visited in an application, so at that time what will be happen? So we have to pay from our end, uh, bill for the infrastructure. But whenever we use of the Lambda functions, it's a small application. So whenever users are using our application, at that time we will generate some money from the business side, then we are ready to pay to the amount to the infrastructures. So we can say call it the, this is the Lambda function. Both are the same, but Winstack, whenever we created our services, from that day bill will be considered. But whenever we use of the Lambda functions, whenever we run or executed our application, from the user side, any of the kind of the persons executed, at that time bill will be generated, otherwise bill won't be generated. So this is the main advantages, main, we can call it the main difference of the Lambdas function. So AWS Lambdas are used to the achieve the serverless computing. So already we know that. So what is the serverless computing? Do we think about of the servers? No, we don't think about of the servers in whenever we using of the bin stack, whenever we using of the Lambdas. At that time serverless computing means run the application without thinking about of the servers, already we see here. Okay, after that AWS will be take care of the servers required to run our application. The main advantages of the serverless computing, it work based on the pay as you uh, pay as you use model. So that is called as a Lambda functions. Already we discussed about the what is the main advantages of the cloud computing. So earlier it was, we can say called as a pay as you go model. But whenever we're talking about of the AWS Lambda's function, uh, pay as you use, that time we have to pay the money, otherwise we don't require to pay the money to the AWS. Suppose I want to deploy one application, so we can use the Lambda whenever we have the small application. In the real time we have the large enterprise application, so that's why we have to use the different things in our cloud computing, and we have to use the different DevOps tools. But we, whenever we have the small application and I want to deploy uh, to the production environment, then what we have to do, we have to use the Lambdas function. Then what is the slogan for the, we can say called as the AWS Lambdas? Pay as you use. So whenever we use, then we have to pay it, otherwise we cannot pay the single money to the AWS. If your application code is executed, then bill be bill will be generated. Otherwise, we can say call as a, if nobody accessing your application, then uh, no bill will no bill will be generated, because already we discussed Lambdas. What is the purpose of the, what is the main advantages of the Lambdas? whenever user is accessing, at that time we have to pay the money, otherwise we don't require to pay the money to the infrastructure. Then code executed only for 5 minutes, then what will be happen at that time? Bill will be generated only for the 5 minutes. Suppose my code is executed, it's not a code, we can suppose my application is executed 1 hour, then what will be happen? Then we have to pay the bill for only 1 hours. So that is the main advantages of the lambdas. So already we know that what kind of the applications we have in the market. One is a static website and another is a dynamic application. So I want to deploy the, suppose by using of the lambda functions, I want to deploy the my application. So what kind of the application we want to deploy? I want to deploy the dynamic application. You can see here the, you can search here lambdas, then you can see here the create functions, then you can see here the different languages is whatever we have the created the applications, .NET, Java. So I'm going with Java here. You can see here the, this is my package and this is my, so whenever we run here, you can see here the uh, lambda. So I have run the my application here. Lambda respond to the event. You can see here the event. So whenever we hello from the lambda, hello from lambda, this is the, we can say call as a one diagram which is provided from the AWS side. You can see here the this is the streaming analytics from the our side. Whenever whenever we clicking on the streaming analytics, you can see here the my container will be generated here according to the our requirement, right? Suppose what is the container? Container is nothing but, we will discuss later on in the docker and pod, everything will be discussed. So right now just we can say call it the container is nothing but we have the package the code in that container. So whenever we clicking on the streaming analytics, you can see here the, as per my request wise, so container is generated from the lambda side, because number of requesting, number of users are requesting to the our application, so that's why containers are generated here. Suppose whenever we talking about of the mobile side, so when I click on the mobile side, you can see here the containers are generated here. You can see here the, I'm using the data processing. So already we know that what is the data processing. So this is my image. So we are taking this image from the we can say call it from the our application side. Then we are data processing and we are executing the our whatever we have. Then you can see here the mobile IoT backend. So whenever we clicking on the requested, so any of the kind of here, you can see here the containers are generated. Suppose I want to check the how many bills are generated. You can see here the, so whenever invocation counts here, how many invocation? Suppose I'm clicking on the 4 to 3 times. You can see here the how many. Whenever we clicking on that my application, so you can see here the bill will be generated. Otherwise, bill be we can say call as a bill won't be generated, because we are using the lambda functions here. So number of invocations here. Suppose how many times my applications are executed? 1 hour. Then at that time we have to pay only uh, bill bill pay to the only 1 hours. Otherwise, do we need to the pay the bill to the AWS? No, there is a no need to the pay for the bill. So whenever we, suppose I'm clicking on this one, then it will be data process and it will be generate the cost here. So how many times we are executed our application? Number of times. Suppose whenever we talking about of the real time, so users are using the my application 4 days, then what will be happen in the whole month? Then what will be happen? Then we have to pay only 4 days bill. Otherwise, there is a no need to the bill pay for the whole month, because we are using of the lambda functions. So as per our requirement wise, we have to choose the services. So right now my business is not generating so much money, so that's why my requirement is I want to deploy my application. Then what we'll see, then you can compatible with Lambda functions, then you can deploy your application to the production environment. So as per your user wise, you can see call as a bill will be generated, otherwise bill won't be generated. Suppose I want to deploy my web dynamic application, then what we have to do here? So just we have to click on the create functions here. You can see here the author from the scratch. Use, if you want to use the blueprint, then you can use it, otherwise container image. So what is the container image? Image is nothing but we can say call it is a packaging of the code. So whenever we're talking about of the Dockers and Kubernetes, then we will understand the container image. Okay, so it's nothing but image is nothing but we can say call as of we cannot consider the as of normal image. We can consider the package whatever we have the code, that code we are packaging in zip file, in jar files. So whenever we're talking about of the standalone application, then we have to convert the file into the jar files. So whenever we're talking about of the WebEx application, at that time what we have to do, we have to convert the WAR files. Then whenever we're talking about of the .NET, so we have to generate the DLL files. So these are the things. So right now I'm selecting from the author from the scratch. Then my application name is so we can say call it a demo, anything you can, functions name here, so your application name here. So what kind of runtime you want to hear? So you have the Node.js, then Java 21 here, .NET, C Sharp, then number of applications here, it will be supportable. Then other supportable here you can see here. Right now I'm selecting the Java 11 here, so you can selecting as per your requirement wise. Okay, after that you can see here the architecture here. I'm selecting here the 86 here, underscore 64. Then permissions we have the you can see here the permissions, we will change it here. So change the default execution role here, create a new role with basis Lambda permission. What is the functions? Already we know that. So whenever we requested, at that time new rule will be generated. Already we see. So whenever we are executing, the container will be generated. So every 5 minutes. So suppose users are visiting every 5 minutes, then container will be generated. Same thing here. If you have the existing row, then you can select it. Otherwise, you can select from the AWS policy templates also here. Then additional configuration here. So I want to functional URL. So already everyone knows the what is the functional URL. So every application has an endpoint. What is the endpoint? Endpoint is nothing but we can access our application by using of the endpoint. So that is called as a URL. So we can take example of the Flipkart application. Flipkart is a www.flipkart.com. This is my endpoint. This is my URL. I want to functional URL here. So I'm not choosing any domains here. So just I want random of the functional URL here. Then you can see here the auth type here. Just I'm selecting here the none, because everyone can access my application here. You can see here the view the policy statement here. In that policy already we know that Lambda's in question functional URL, because whenever you selected the AWS and underscore I am here, other users cannot access our application. So I want to deploy my application in the production environment and anyone can access my application. So that's why I have selected here the none options. Then you can see here the invoke mode here, buffer. Then just I'm keeping as it is here. Then I'm creating the one functions here. But here once we create it, you can see here the it will be take some time. You can see here so we have the layers here, templates here, diagrams here, functions here. So whenever we click on you can see here the hello from the Lambda. So what is the purpose of this one? Because this is my already sample code which is provided from the AWS side. But I want to deploy my own code here. So what we have to do here? So we have to select it here Amazon S3 locations. Already we discussed yesterday in the bin stack. Then you can see here the jar files and .zip files here. So you can see here already I have created one Spring Boot. So I have created one Spring Boot Hello World program here. Then in the target folder, I have created one jar files here. So with dependencies, without dependencies. So I'm selecting here you can see here that I'm selecting here the lambdas. Hello. Then I'm saving here. Once click on the save button here. So you can see here the edit options here because I want to change the runtime configuration here. Then you have to click on the edit button here. In that edit button, so we have to enter the handler. So it is the input. So we have to provide it. So who will be provide this input? It will be provided from the developer team side because they created the own classes. They created own uh, what as per their requirement way. They created the classes and everything, and we have the project packages there. So we will get the some handler from the developer side. So you can see here I'm having of this is the .com, this is my project here lambda, then my package, then my class. So this is who will be provided this one. This input will be provided from the developer side. You can see here this is my project name. So whenever we take example of the real time, so your application name here, then package, then class name here. You can see here just I'm saving these functions here. If you are not change the if we are not change the runtime management configuration, at, then we cannot access our application here. So once we change here, you can see here so hello from the AWS Lambda. So earlier it was hello Lambda. So which is already from the AWS side. It's a sample code. But what was so my requirement is I want to deploy my own application. So I have created some write it the code here. In that you can see here so just I have downloaded. So I will provide uh, everything in that. So already it will be available in our GitHub repository. So just I have downloaded. So you can see here the src files, then main. You can see here the java.com examples, then lambda. Then you can see here this is my class name. Then just I have converted this project in the jar files because I want to deploy my application in the real time. So do we need to provide the code at that time? No, there is no need to provide the code. Just we have to provide the jar war file as per your requirement, right? So you can see here this is my application here. So I have deployed this is my functional URL. Suppose if you are selected none, if you are not selected the none, if you are selected the I am at that time, you cannot see here the functional URL. If we have the functional URL, then we can access our application on this. Suppose sorry, if you are not selected the functional URL, then we cannot see the functional URL here. We can see the dash. If we are not selected the none, then we cannot access our application because only I am user can access our application. So that's why I use the none while we creating of the Lambda functions. So I have created one application and I deployed my application in the Lambda function. So how many requested, suppose I'm requesting 4 requested. So how many times bill will be generated here? So bill will be generated only 4 times because how many times our application is executed here? 4 times. So that's why bill will be generated only 4 times. Suppose uh, so now user are used my application after 2 days, 5 days, users are not visited in our application. At that time, bill will be generated? No, bill be bill won't be generated. So that is the main advantages of the Lambda functions. So but what is the use of the Lambda functions? So AWS Lambdas are used to achieve the serverless computing. Already we know that. Suppose I want to deploy as a cloud engineer, as a DevOps engineer, I want to deploy one application. Then what we have to do? We have to create the infrastructure setup. Then we have to create the platform setup. Then we have to deploy our code. But whenever using of the bin stack lambda functions, at that time what we have to do, we are using the platform as a service which is provided from the AWS side. So we are ready-made, we are using the ready-made platform which is provided from the AWS side. Just we have to deploy our code and we have to use our application. So that is the bin stack and lambda function. But main advantage is the AWS lambda function. So whenever we are use the model, then we have to pay the money. Otherwise, we cannot pay the money to the AWS. So this is the thing. So we discussed here in the lambda function. Once your practice lab is completed, just go back there. So delete my delete your applications here. So everything will be available in my GitHub repository. So whatever we are deploying the small project, everything nodes and every part will be available in our GitHub repository. So you can download it. Okay. So I am deleting my uh, here because otherwise bill will be generated. So I'm confirming my. You can see here the it's deleted. So you can see here the so whatever we created, you can see here the lambda functions. Right now, do we have any lambda functions? We don't have any lambda functions here. Here is a dashboard. So after refresh it, you cannot see here the you can see here the 0. Then code storage up to 75 GB here. If you want to increase up to uh, more than the 75 GB, then we have to request it to the AWS account back office because it's that is the enough for the every storage for the code storage. Then you can see the concurrency here, then unreserved account concurrency here, then application, then functions. Okay, then I want to deploy the Python application, then you can deploy it. Otherwise I want to use the Ruby application, you can use it. Otherwise custom run and run time here, you can use it here. Otherwise .NET Java. So how many languages we can say right now? We have the 5 languages which is support from the AWS side. So already we know that I want to create a backend code. Then mostly we use the .NET, Java, Node.js, then Python and Ruby. These are the languages mostly we will use for the backend development. So I think that's it for today. So we completed one another services Lambda, Elastic Beanstalk. Already we completed the IAM services, EC2 services. then S3 bucket services, then CloudWatch, then simple notification services, and RDS also we completed. So today we will see, tomorrow we will see, otherwise in next sessions we will start our new services. So I will take session VPC at the last, because very important topic for the VPC. We have to create the NAT gateway, internet gateway in the VPC. So I will take this session in the last. Once we completed the AWS cloud computing, then we will jump on the Terraform. Okay. Then we will start our DevOps tool one by one. So I think that's it for today. So we will continue tomorrow for the next services. Thank you everyone.